Hello, you're welcome. You're welcome onto my channel today, and it gives me great joy to observe you are viewing this video. I am Dr. Olayinka Akanle. I am a lecturer in the university. I am a sociologist. I'm a researcher. On this channel, I do a number of stuff. For all the stuffs I do on this channel, you can cluster them into four: sociology, research, relationship, and migration. And I drop content on this as regularly as possible to build the capacity of my viewers and my subscribers. Meanwhile, are you subscribed to this channel? If no, what are you waiting for? Kindly go ahead and tap the subscribe button on your screen right now. Click the subscribe on your screen right now. If you have subscribed to this channel previously, thank you very much for staying tuned. Today, I want to address a very important research element: content analysis. Content analysis is a tool, it's an approach, it's a strategy, it's a method of analyzing data by looking for or identifying or isolating key words, important words, themes, or concepts in a particular data. This content analysis is very peculiar or common in qualitative study. Remember, I dropped a video on qualitative data analysis, and I said in that video that I'll be dropping different types of qualitative data analysis methods. So the first one I'm starting with is content analysis. And this content analysis is one of the most misunderstood methods of data analysis. You see people just saying content analysis, as if it means everything and nothing. So, and that's why I'm starting with this. It's the most common one I've heard people talk about. When you have a thematic analysis, you have grounded theory, you have interpretative phenomenological analysis, you have different types of qualitative method of data analysis, which I will still mention. But you hear everybody talking about content analysis as if it's just there. And many people don't understand what it means, because maybe they think it's the most common, they know, and that's what they hear. But they don't really know much about it. So it's to bust this misunderstanding that I'm talking about it. So content analysis, what does it mean? It is a method, an approach, a strategy, a process of identifying, isolating, or discovering or categorizing words, themes, concepts in qualitative data, essentially speaking. So, and it looks for the sometimes meanings, even theories, even assumptions, relationship, or themes that are of interest to the researcher in the research process. So what you just want to look at is to see important concepts and themes and words, or adults or meanings that will assist you in answering your research question. So sometimes we may want to use word cloud or word frequency, depending whether if you are using manual or computer assisted qualitative data analysis, depending on what you are doing. But some people tend to quantify the content in their analysis using word frequency, word cloud, or some simple cross tabulations, which computer can assist you to do if you use computer assisted qualitative data analysis, depending on the software that you are using. But essentially, like I've said, the essence of qualitative data is not to quantify, but you may just want to, just for descriptive purposes, you may want to to quantify or visualize, the patterns in your content analysis. So you just want to isolate, identify, categorize some specific elements or categories in your data, and for analytical purposes, concept, themes, words, to see their occurrences and the rest of it. So what are the steps, for undertaking content analysis? Number one is that you must identify your objectives and research question which you want to answer through this particular content analysis. Are you sure it's your objective one or your research question one that content analysis will assist you to answer. So step number one is to identify your objective and the search question that you want to do. Then number two is to then begin to read. Even if you are using computer, you still have to read your transcripts. You still have to read your data to understand. So you have to read and be familiar. Even if you want to upload your transcripts into the software, you still have to read it. Software will not do that for you. You have to read it and understand it. Before you can even do any analysis on your data, you must read the data, read the transcript, and digest it. Otherwise, there will be a problem. So that's the second step. Then another step is to then select the content of interest. This might be the concepts, might be the themes, might be the words that are of interest to you to answer your research question. So you begin to select them, depending on whether you are using manual or computer assisted. Then you must then prepare the data in a way that is able to be analyzed. Are you going to use the MS Word processor to prepare a transcript and in a way that can be uploaded? Or do you want to just do it manually depending on the volume of the data? Or do you want to use marker? It depends. So you have to prepare the data in a way that is analyzable. Then you must finalize your unit of analysis. What is the unit of analysis of interest to you? What are the key variables that you want to explain? So once you understand the key variables, these key variables and the unit of analysis will assist you to guide you on what to look for in your transcript. So you must identify the unit of analysis. Is it micro analysis or macro analysis? What kind of behavior are you interested in, which will assist you and guide you towards the right content to begin to look out for, the right concept to begin to look out for. This is very important. You must identify your unit of analysis. Then you must then identify your coding rules. You develop a coding categories. How do you want to code? Okay, if you are looking for this content, this particular content, say maybe violence, for example. Let's say violence, you are looking for words that describe violence. So how will you code violence? So that whenever you see violence, you code it in a certain way. Codes are programmatic representation of the value of the words or themes of interest. The way you want to represent it. That's what we mean by code. How are you representing violence? If you are looking for gender, how do you want to code gender? Coding categories. What are the codes that you're looking for? How do you want to categorize the codes? This is very important. I hope I'm not confusing you. So there must be coding categories where you can input on the computer or put on your notebook. And so, okay, wherever I see gender or whenever I see male, female, this is what I will do. Whenever I'm looking at violence, once I see emotional violence, this is the way I categorize it. When I see physical violence, this is the way I will code it. When I see financial violence, this is how I will code it. When I see rape, this is how I will code it. So if I'm doing manual, if I see rape, I just simply use this marker, maybe a red marker, choose it. If I see emotional violence, maybe I will use blue marker. That's if you are doing manual. But if you are doing computer assisted, how do you want to code it? What do you want to? So you have to identify your coding categories or your coding rules, and this is very important. And then you have to identify your coding schema. The schema for your coding and must be consistent. So coding consistency is very important. So if you will not code emotional violence in this way, then you get to somewhere else and code it in a different way. If you run the analysis on the computer, it will not give you any consistency. You will just be having too many things that be meaningless. I've seen my students falling into this error in the past. That they run analysis and you begin to see, for example, a content, let's say violence, emotional violence, this being repeated under different codes. And I said, wow, you cannot do this analysis like this. You have to go and recode. Then it becomes more difficult. So you must be sure of your coding consistency, and this is very important, so that you don't run into any trouble, and you must code the text appropriately. But you cannot do all of this if you are not familiar with the transcript. So you have to be familiar with the transcript. Read it inside out. That's why I always tell people, it doesn't matter whether you are using software or not. You are still the one that will tell the software what to do. That means your familiarization with your data is key. You must have digested it enough. Prepare your coding category. That is why you must have code book. Because even when you enter it into the software, you must have reference point, which will be your code book, which can be saved on your computer. Yes, you can have word text on the computer. I don't want to mention any software, so I don't advertise for anybody. But all the software I know, you have folders, and you have instrument there you can use to store your codes. But sometimes also you can back up with the code book. Depending, you never can tell, anything can happen. So you then begin to do all of this. After you are done with your coding, then you start to analyze. Another greatest problem I have with people doing content analysis is that they simply present the data without analysis. I was reading a dissertation just yesterday. This person was just dropping quotations, dropping contents without analyzing. And I got frustrated. I said, wow, please analyze this data. What does it mean? You're just doing data presentation. Anybody can do that. But what makes you a researcher is the ability to analyze the data in terms of what it means and interpret the data. In fact, that is the greatest job of a researcher. Anybody can collect data. Anybody can just do content analysis. But interpreting the data after analysis is actually the highest level of what a researcher needs to do. What does this content mean? What does it mean? What does it represent within this cultural environment? So you must be able to tell us that. So after all of this coding, you analyze, then you must interpret and report your findings. And in reporting your findings, you are reporting the findings and telling us the implication for the objectives of your study. So it's not just to present data, you are coding. All those coding in content analysis are just analytical processes that don't mean much until you do the analysis and you interpret it. The interpretation will then inform the findings. This is what we have found. Based on this, our finding, this is what it means, this is what it represents, this is how it answers our research question. Then you draw conclusion that based on my objectives and this analysis, I therefore conclude in so and so, and I recommend in so and so way. So this is the way to just do, not just about just reading newspaper and just saying what they said in the newspaper and just say what you see in your transcripts and not do anything. No, that's not the way it is. So it's not just to see what is there, it's just to also tell us what it means. So what are the types of content analysis? You have conceptual content analysis, and you have relational. Conceptual tells us what it is that you are seeing there, what are these concepts about, what are these themes about, what are these words about, how many are they, what do they represent. Then relational would then tell you what is the relationship between this issue variable you are looking at. Though some may say this is quantitative, but not necessarily. You can also still do some element of this in the qualitative. How is this concept, these themes, how is it related to this? And how are these relationships able to answer the research question? And what can we learn from this? Because sometimes it's not just that maybe these concepts are just in a certain way. They are not just on their own. Sometimes you have many concepts in a particular transcript that can be related. So you look at the relationship. Though I'm not talking about maybe chi-square or some element of correlation or whatever it is. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm simply talking about is the fact that how are these related? And this is very important. Then there are the two major advantages of content analysis is that it's simple. The way I've explained it, you should see that it's simple and it's natural. You are not over-interpreting, over-analyzing the data. It's simple. It's usually the first level of analysis in qualitative research. So that's why I'm handling it first. It's usually the first level, and from there you can go to another level. Like I will show later on. Then it's natural. You just look at the data and you are talking to it or thinking about it. But a major disadvantage is that it's too basic. It's too simple. Sometimes it's just content to analyze. That's all. No in-depth analysis. Even before you can do relational type of content analysis, you may have to go a little advanced. So sometimes it's too basic, it's too simple, and sometimes it's too descriptive. It's not very analytical. It's descriptive. Sometimes you just describe without rigorous analysis. Before you do rigorous analysis, you may go to a higher level of qualitative data analysis. Maybe go to systematic, maybe you go to grounded theory, maybe you go to interpretative phenomenological analysis. But content analysis gives you an in-route into the analysis. I hope you enjoy this. Kindly subscribe to the channel and share as widely as possible. Bye for now.